The new King of Boys is out and you want Mr. C, your sarcastic narrator, to give you a fresh recap of the old one. Sit down. Let me tell you. So we start with Eniola Salami, our King of Boys. Our cop, pulling big crowds for a party with dignitaries like senators, the governor, even famous musicians like Davido, Wizkid,
King Wasil, Aide, Masha, K1, the ultimate.
Yeah, he sang that song. Anyway, we get introduced to her good-for-nothing son and his rocky relationship with his beautiful sister.
Whose sister?
Kemi, who is played by the only woman I would replace Mrs. C for, my darling Susu. But back at the main party, Cobb receives a message and has to visit some part of the house I imagine is very far away where screams cannot be heard because they have been torturing a child kidnapper. Yeah, so don't feel sorry for him. Cobb comes to check if the kidnapper got his party rice and if he was willing to say who sent him. Our child kidnapper is not willing to talk, so Cobb does her best R-rated Thor impression and cleans her bloody hands on her. Are you going back to the party like that? Flashback, we see what looks like Cobb's dad beating what looks like Cobb's mom, and then a young Cobb fights off her dad like a oh, okay, I guess she's not there yet. Flash forward, now we get introduced to Gangster Wande Cole and Gangster Nigerian Ed Sheeran, aka Ginger Gangster. Gangster Wande Cole wants Ginger Gangster to join him on a mission to rob some politicians of some millions of dollars, and they agree to split their earnings 50-50, but Gangster Sheeran doesn't want to pay the 40% tax to Cobb. Meanwhile, in some hopefully far part of her shop, our Cobb is audibly unhappy about not getting a promised political position.
Not even a bloody commissioner.
In fairness, we have seen her handle security, but the messenger signals something about her reputation being a problem, and honestly he has a point. Maybe she should stop handling her problematic dealings in public. Anyway, the messenger is told to deliver a threatening message to his orgas.
I, Enola, will take all my money, all my blood, drop for drop.
Obviously, Eniola, our cub, is trying to relax when her trained pet tiger brings her a call from Gangster Ed Sheeran. He tries to explain he's trying to rob some politicians that would usually be under her protection, but she doesn't let him speak and she's like, do whatever, man, don't just bother my peeps and pay your tax. And then she hangs up. Meet Gobe. Or if Nigeria happened to Drake and force him to be a police officer. He's messing with his superior when they both stop to admire his boss's ad. I mean his Audemars Piguet watch.
Nice, isn't it?
Very nice.
Very nice, sir.
That was apparently a gift. I mean, I see scratch marks. Maybe it was from a charity shop. Anyway, we find out Drake's wife is not doing so well. Meanwhile, Cobb and her daughter Kemi have come to visit a big man when they catch an ad on TV. Hey, what are the odds? They sponsored this film. This ad is followed by the 9 o'clock news, who's read by the lovely Osas, literally the only woman I would leave Mrs. C for. Cobb has come to ask her, a big politician who only kept her waiting for less than 15 minutes, which is a new Nigerian world record for fastest time for Nigerian big man to see his guest. Anyway, Cobb is unhappy that she didn't get the position, but they quietly talk it out. And come to an understanding where they name my lover Susu the deputy commissioner. Yes, Susu, please commission me. Meanwhile, Gangster Cole and Ginger Gangster were planning their heist where they kidnap a baby and a car at a checkpoint, and they used the baby as bait to get in, but Gangster Wande Cole steals some stinking money, and on Ginger Gangster's side, the politicians tried to hide the money, but it was a dead giveaway. Flashback, and our young cub to be has run away to a brothel? I'm not sure, but flash forward, and our looters are counting the money when the Ginger Gangster notices a couple of hungry counters, so he offered one of them the table for dinner.
By the table.
But he was understandably having trouble chewing the hard table, so Ginger Gangster tries to assist him, but instead he widens his gap tooth. Cobb calmly asks her good-for-nothing son to leave the breakfast table so she can speak with someone that has sense, and they realize that the Ginger Gangster has overstepped and their political friends are gravely unhappy about their shitty situation. Good-for-nothing son is sat down when Oluture is walking this bar and catches the good-for-nothing son's eye. Anyway, flashback, and a young Eniola seems to be finding life tough at this brothel-looking place, but she makes a brothel friend in Bumi. Flash forward, Cobb goes to the office and Ginger Gangster makes a late entrance where they have a quarrel about who should be king, and Cobb tries to give herself a cool nickname.
I'm Labu.
Which really you should never do. Just like that, that's what others call you.
There are those that think I'm a very stable genius.
Anyway, the fight ends with Cobb threatening Ginger Gangster, but they go and ask their various spiritual daddies to help them kill each other, which seems a little lazy to me, and that's kind of their job. But Officer Drake is in the hospital hoping his wife gets better while waiting to sell his house because this is Nigeria. There's no Lil Wayne to blow you into superstardom. I mean, it's hard enough to make a mixtape without power and money. Anyway, Drake's boss puts him on Cobb as they have received a tip that Cobb is behind Ginger Gangster's robbery. Meanwhile, Cobb is trying to settle quarrel between the useless son and my lover. See, Donatus, please remove every time I've called Kemi my lover, please. Mrs. C is obviously my true love. I just, sometimes slip of the tongue. Okay. And just use this part to remind people to like the video, yeah? Thank you. Meanwhile, Cobb's political allies are distancing themselves from her because of the robberies. Nigerian Drake invites Cobb for
A mere conversation.
Obviously, Kemi, my love, is actually useful and is there as a lawyer. My goodness, look at her. Beat me like I didn't bring back core exchange money. Anyway, Nigerian Drake's inquisition goes nowhere, but it does make Cobb call off her goons from offing Ginger Gangster. Then she suggests what sounds like bribing Nigerian Detective Drake. Then a huge sum of money turns up in Detective Drake's house saying it was a gift from Cobb, but it's in a strange scrambled voice like this. Anyway, because Detective Drake is a really straightforward policeman, he wants to reject the money, and the strange voice is like,
"You would rather be friends with your larger than our enemy."
and Detective Drake is like, "Is that a threat?" And the voice answers what all of us are really thinking.
When did $500,000 in cash become a threat?
Please, guy, threaten me. I have bills to pay, one house I'm eyeing, and a lady to spoil. Detective Drake takes a look at the money and then thinks about his wife in the hospital and decides, that whining woman.
I'm going to die, aren't I?
Yup!
I'm a good cop, I have a conscience. And he uses the attempted bribe to arrest Cobb. Flashback, a young cop played by the only woman I can leave Mrs. C for, Tony turns. And okay, I actually mean this one seriously. Look at her. My God. Anyway, young cop helps the pervy godfather, the perv father if you will, out of a jam, and he rewards her with his prize pot belly in bed. It seems our young cop is actually charming her way to the perv father's life because he wants to marry her as a second wife, but our young cop does not think much of second position, like Ben Whittaker. Anyway, young cop goes to see her brothel friend Bumi, who is dying in the hospital of not being an important character, when her brothel friend asks her of one thing.
Just want you to take care of Kemi for me. There's no other person on this earth I can trust more.
Flash forward, Kemi asks Tiger to do something for her, and then we see the judge presiding over Cobb's case has had his family napped, so the judge sets Cobb free in an attempt to rescue them. On your way out, Kemi, my love, is accidentally killed by the worst assassin of all time, who gets what he deserves at the hands of the Ginger Gangster for killing my Kemi instead of Cobb. Flashback, and it looks like young Cobb is multitasking hard. While pregnant with a future useless son, she is handling the perv father's gangster business, poisoning the perv father, and has apparently killed the perv father's family. Oh wow, that got dark. Oh wait, there's a happy ending. It's a wedding to a dying man. Speaking of death, we flash forward. Useless son is mourning his sister he loved so much.
Stupid bitch.
When we find out that his babe was working with the guys that killed his sister. I'm not sure what information she provided. That looked like a public hearing. Anyway, he's like,
It was my sister.
and she's like,
Hated her.
and then finally some of the Cobb blood shoots through his veins and he does something meaningful with his life and ends it. Oh yeah, he killed a lottery too. Anyway, being the cold gangster she is, our Cobb quietly mourns the loss of her children. I said quietly mourns the loss of her children. Thank you. Flashback, and our future Cobb has finally killed the perv father, which leaves a vacancy that is filled by Alaji's short lifespan, who our future Cobb commands to leave, and he refuses, but she faithfully insists and everyone is cool with it, enough not to murder her. And then our Cobb is in an interrogation room and is being interrogated by all the people from the past she has let down to help. Then Detective Drake shows up to reveal the interrogation room is indeed the police station. So our Cobb has been arrested for some reason, which allows Ginger Gangster to occupy the Cobb's chair. Anyway, Detective Drake and his Oga are discussing the Cobb's capture when Drake's Oga tells him Cobb is getting transferred because she's facing prosecution for the murder of the judge's family, the one that let her go. But why would she? Anyway, Drake is unhappy because he wants to personally nail her. That seems wrong. He wants to pin her. Bust her. Ew. Get her. Whatever. He wants to get her on bribery because it's probably a rare crime in Nigeria, but he says because it was a threat against the family, it's personal. And then his Oga says, when did 500,000 become a threat? Which raises alarm bells because, oh my gosh, the briber said the exact same thing.
Oh my God!
So Detective Drake uses the back door passage to ask her truth-telling Cobb if she did in fact murder the judge's family, and she's like, I've done many bad things, but not that one. I'm definitely not lying. Drake gets called to the hospital and his wife is in worse condition, so much that the doctor's like,
Bitch better have my money.
we need to do a transplant. He's like, I'm working on it. Then he starts working on our Cobb's case, and then we find out Drake's guy is working with the pervy politician.
Oh my God!
Who is asking him to give Ginger Gangster VVIP visiting access to the Cobb's cell. Meanwhile, Drake has a breakthrough and decides to confront his guy in his house with some blah 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 evidence. And his guy confesses because this is how things are. And Drake is like, I don't care, I'm telling on you, sir. Oh, Drake's guy also told him they are going to kill Cobb tonight and he's looking the other way. And then we get to Cobb's prison and Ginger Gangster and his boys are pouring fuel on the prison, and Ginger Gangster goes in to have a chat with Cobb. He's like, I killed your family and I've come to kill you. And she's like, give me your knife. a knife? Don't they use? She's like, give me your knife and I'll kill myself. And then he's like, nah, I want to see you suffer and cry. And then he walks away and flicks his cigarette on the patrol trail, which sets the prison on animated fire. But Detective Drake breaks into the smoky prison. I said smoky prison, thank you. And rescues Cobb and decides to take her to the hospital. And then he gets a call from the doctor that his wife is dead, which he doesn't take very well. And at that point, he lets our Cobb go with 2K and an apology. Can't be the first time this is happening to her. Then our pervy politician gets arrested and Drake gets a buyer for his house. Drake's girl commits suicide. Gangster Cole kills Ginger Gangster, and our Cobb has flown to America where women are treated 3 times better.
I know this crazy bitch ain't talking to me, right?
And Cobb lived happily ever after.
Happy?
I'm recording, my love.
Oh. Okay. Should I bring your coffee here?
I'll be out. I'm almost done.
Okay.
I bet you Susu would never walk into me whilst I was recording.